The biggest genre in the gaming world is RPGs, and mobile gaming is by far its biggest platform. 2022 is going to be a huge year for both, so in this video I'm going to show you the top 10 mobile RPGs of 2022. The first and best RPG of 2022 is Yeager. This new Monster Hunter type RPG is already getting a lot of hype because it is much faster paced than any of its contemporaries, giving it a unique place in the gaming world. The game is not really an MMO, but you can link up with your friends in parties of 4 to take on stronger monsters. Capcom has already put this game through 4 beta tests and the results have been amazing. The game has both stunning visuals and minimal lag, even when playing in a different country's server. The only downsides to the game we've seen so far are preferential in nature. The first one is that when you reverse craft your weapon into another type to switch classes, you keep all of the same quality without having to add any extra material. And while I believe most players will like this change, I think it will feel unnatural and unsettling to fans of the original Monster Hunter game. The second one is that they use gacha techniques for acquiring pets. This is not a huge deal from a pay-to-win perspective because pets will not have that big of a deal in regards to the effectiveness of advancing in the game, but it will naturally bother players that like to play games where there's an easy path to get whatever they want without spending large amounts of money. The last reason I think Yeager will perform as the leading RPG for this year is because currently there is very little to no competition for the genre. As you watch the rest of this video, you will see that that is about to change, but Yeager has a leg up on that upcoming competition, so it should outperform them. The second game on the list is Undecember. With Blizzard waiting so long to release Diablo Immortal, several new, much more advanced RPGs like it have had a chance to develop. Undecember is the most impressive of those competitors with unprecedented graphics for the mobile platform. And even with these unbelievable graphics, they have found a way to minimize lag to almost nothing. More importantly, the gameplay of Undecember is both easy to understand and satisfying. As you gain skills, you can combine them with others to create better skills, but there is often a cost to each combination, so players must choose according to their playstyles and what enemies they want to be most effective against. This type of intricate skill system results in everyone having their own unique character. They also set it up to where when you wear armor in the game, you can see it. This is a big deal because it allows you to feel your progression through the game, and it is somewhat unique because most mobile games do not do this to give an extra motivation to players to buy or earn skins. And while these skins do a great job of allowing players to express their uniqueness, an armor-based sense of progression has been an unfortunate casualty. But Undecember is bringing it back, and I think it will remind players of how much they miss it in other games. The game also allows you to change classes freely, so it is worth collecting weapons of other classes that you are wanting to try. I think they still need to work on their world system to make it more intuitive, but I have a feeling that that is at the top of their list. Currently, this game has only been released in Korea, but it should have its global release sometime this year. The third game is Clash Heroes, which is basically a Minecraft Dungeons using the Clash universe. The game is made by Supercell, which means it will probably get a lot more downloads than any of these other games on the list, but this video is not based on how many downloads it's going to get in the Play Store, but rather how popular it will be among serious mobile gamers. The reason why I think this game will be popular even among serious mobile gamers is because it is going to be kind of a unique game for the mobile platform. Believe it or not, there's not a lot of Minecraft dungeon type games on the phone right now, which positions it to do really well. Furthermore, the game doesn't require a huge time commitment each time you play, which is also attractive to mobile gamers. Now, I do think this game will be more casual than a lot of the other games that I usually put on these lists, mainly because Minecraft Dungeons is still a little bit more of a casual game than some of these other games, but also because it's Supercell, and Supercell has had a tendency to make more casual games. Now, I will admit that ever since Tencent took over ownership of Supercell, they have reduced some of the paywall. Those of you who played Clash of Clans back in the day know that they had a paywall to make it to where you simply couldn't max out your base without paying, thus giving you a disadvantage. And while that is still true of Supercell in a lot of their games, you can see in games like Brawl Stars that they are toning it down just a little bit, and I think Tencent has a lot to do with that. The fourth game is Diablo Immortal. This game has been highly anticipated by mobile gamers for years now. In fact, it has the record for the longest anticipated mobile game of all time. This has created a ton of publicity for the game, with almost every gamer being aware of it, but it has also started to make the game old news, to the point that some joke the game is already dead before it's even released, which would be ironic for a game with the word immortal in its name. Regardless, after all of this waiting, 7 months ago they did release the closed beta, and it seems like this year it will finally come to Android and iOS. For those of you who don't know, Diablo Immortal is a hack and slash ARPG that has had really dynamic gameplay 3 years ago. Those playing the closed beta say it's gotten even better, and it should be everything we were hoping for. That being said, some of you might be surprised to see this game so low on this list, since it is listed near the top of the top 10 videos overall. This is because I believe its extra publicity will give it more hype among generic mobile gamers overall than it will RPG enthusiasts, which will probably gravitate to more advanced versions like Undecember. The 5th game is Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis Mobile. This game was the hardest one for me to place. On one hand, this game is a remake of one of the most popular RPGs of all time. If it is done well, it could completely take over the serious mobile gaming world. But on the other hand, Square Enix does not have a good track record for creating mobile games. The recent release of their Final Fantasy VII Battle Royale, which was an amazing concept and could have blown up the market, was riddled with bugs, killing a huge portion of its hype at launch. Gamers can be quite unforgiving with things like this and can often vow to never return, so I'm hopeful that they will not make the same mistake with this game. The 6th game is Dauntless Mobile. This is another Monster Hunter style game, and even though it is slower paced and does not have nearly as impressive graphics as Yeager, the game plays closer to the original Monster Hunter. One of the most important aspects of this is in the fact that you take more damage when getting hit by the monsters you are hunting. This usually results in each hunt creating a stronger adrenaline rush and increases the learning threshold, allowing players to feel a greater sense of accomplishment when getting good at the game. Dauntless has over 12 unique monsters, some of which are arguably impossible to kill without first getting the items from the loot of the other monsters. The 7th game is Torchlight Infinite. If you are in the mood for a classic RPG, this is probably the one you are looking for. But because it is on the phone, it offers a new way of playing that will make the classic feel fresh. The biggest example of this is the way they have set up directional skills using your touchscreen. Clicking on a spell and dragging it to the part of the screen that you want to affect is extremely satisfying because it is both intuitive and allows a player's skill level to shine. The game does not have an open world, but the skill tree is incredibly dynamic, allowing you to essentially custom make each of your skills. The 8th game on the list is Path of Exile. Path of Exile exploded 9 years ago on the PC because it addressed many of the frustrations players were experiencing with Diablo Immortal, causing a lot of Diablo influencers to switch over to the game. It never got quite as big as the Diablo name, but the devs have gained the reputation of listening to and understanding their player base. PoE Mobile looks to be no different. In addition to stating their commitment to non-aggressive monetization techniques, the beta version of the game has shown that the devs already have a great grasp on what would be intuitive for playing on the phone. And while the game is mostly a port, they transferred game elements like skills over to the phone in a way that is extremely intuitive, like implementing an invisible tap and drag skill system for skills that are placement based. This is masterfully done and sets them above even many of the more experienced mobile developers. The 9th game is Punishing Gray Raven. Similar to MiHoYo's Honkai Impact in game style, this game has a lot of potential. It is a much faster paced game than most of its contemporaries, but still keeps the aesthetically pleasing style of the game type. More importantly, the combo system in this game is extremely satisfying, which greatly extends the long-term playability of the game. Personally, I am wary of this game because it is strongly integrated with a gacha system for characters, but that is typical of the game type, so it probably won't scare off those of you who like these types of games. The last game on the list is The Legend of Neverland. The Legend of Neverland has already gotten a lot of flack for being a copy of Genshin Impact, but if we learn anything from the past, that won't stop it from being popular. Even though it is currently only available in the SEA region, it already has over 100,000 reviews, averaging at around 4.6 stars. Genshin Impact was the #1 mobile game at the end of 2020 and at the beginning of 2021, making over $2 billion. So even if this game experiences 10% of Genshin's success, it will give GameArt Mobile a lot of fans and make them a lot of money. Okay, so those are the top 10 mobile RPGs for 2022, but I do have 3 more honorable mentions for you. The first one is Genshin Impact, which has established itself as a pillar of mobile gaming. gaming. While the game will always be remembered and keep a large player base, the hype is now on a downward trend starting when its players tried to cancel the game, which kind of worked. The game did not get a single award on Google Play for 2021, and its reviews are still down even though Google deleted many of the bad reviews. I personally do not think they will ever recover their position as the top mobile game. The second honorable mention is Disney Mirrorverse. This game is getting a lot of hype because people love Disney and Disney is already advertising a lot, but its gameplay is pretty basic with no control of your character's movement, and even the skills you do control do not allow for directional management. So while I'm sure it will be a great success for Disney monetarily in the greater mobile market, I do not think serious mobile gamers will be as attracted to the simplicity of the game. The last honorable mention is Echoes of Mana. This game is different than all of the other games I've mentioned, which almost got it a spot on the list, but there are several things that gave me pause. To avoid making it turn-based, they implemented autoplay for your party members. This isn't horrible because you still get to control the one you have selected as your main, but if you run into a hard fight, you will likely get frustrated at your computer teammates, and if it is an easy fight, you will probably find yourself competing with them for kills. Well, that's it guys, hope that helps. If a game is not on here that you think should be on here, it is probably because I put it in a different genre, like perhaps MMORPGs, or there are actually some really interesting RPGs coming out as shooters. Both of those videos are already out and more will be coming very soon. Alright guys, I'll see you next time.